So when I first arrived off the plane this morning and I came into the house with Christine, then we took a walk through immediately. It's always good when you're working with your clairsentience, or what some people would call extrasensory perception, to feel straight away when you come into a place before you get used to it. So you sort of open yourself and start to feel what you can feel. And in a place like this, there's been so much history that it's really interesting when you're walking through the layers and layers and layers. And in some places, there is several layers of images that come through, and that's quite typical with energy. I mean, you can see it in a simple form when you bump yourself when you bump yourself and you hurt yourself, and then it seems that you can often break the same bone or have the same injury repeat in the same place. There can be this layer over layer effect. Once there's something there, something else will come to be attracted to it, and that, if you've read any of Esther and Jerry Hicks's work or anything like that, then you'd understand that to be called the law of attraction. So that's what I'm sensing in some particular places, is layers and layers of information of a similar kind of story that's occurred in all of the different chapters of this building's life. I think that's the best way to describe it. The other thing I noticed when I was walking around, that there was two places in the entire property, both on, is this the south? This is the north. That's north, okay. Yes. All right, on the east side, both on the east side of the house. And north and northeast, yeah? That's north. So the north and but all on the eastern side of the house, yeah. That there has been two places where crows have really gotten loud and made their presence known very strongly on a couple of occasions. One in the billiard room. It sounds like a Cluedo movie, doesn't it? In the billiard room with a candlestick, but anyway. So we're in the billiard room. There wasn't a candlestick involved, but I was looking out the window to see this beautiful big tree that you can see here. And at that point, all of the crows started going really, really crazy, and I felt a very, very strong sense of a presence there, which I would describe as a masculine presence, and I would describe that as a masculine Aboriginal presence. And also in the same room that Christine was talking about before, which was their best room, the one that was renovated, very, very strong presence there, and a lot of crows started to caw and flock around at that time. Different energy there, very different energy, but what I notice about that place is that it's like, I would describe it like an energetic wound. So it's almost like you've got a boil or something like that, that when it's bumped, it hurts. And so when you come in and you're deliberately looking for that kind of thing, and you're deliberately feeling for that kind of thing, you're going to start to bump up against it. And the crows are lawbirds, so that's L-O-R-E, law, and that's about divine law and natural law. So where the law of the culture, the land, nature has been violated or broken or is out of balance, then that's where you get that kind of a disturbance going on. So the crows act as a mouthpiece for nature to show, because nature can only communicate with us in a way that is not verbal, not the same as human to human. It's a very different language. So yeah, so I'm going to put you back to Christine now for a minute so that she can share with you a little bit more about the history of the place, so that we have a bit of a background and something to go on. Bye for now.
Well, the house was built, my understanding is, between 1882 and 1884 by a businessman in the town, and he built it up here to make a statement. It's side of the hill where the white collar workers lived, the blue collar workers lived on the other side of town. And the story goes that he obviously did business with the ship's captains when they came in, so he would sit on the veranda at the front there and watch for the ships to come in, and when the ships came in he would send his carriage down to pick up the captain, and they would do business, I believe, up on the veranda here. So,
fabulous.
So anyway, when he died, I'm not sure whether his wife took it over or his daughter, but it was sold to private people, and then in 1912 it was sold to the government of Western Australia with the purpose of using it as the governor's summer residence. But when World War I broke out, the governor of the day, they obviously must have had to do quite a lot of additions and so forth, but when the war broke out, the governor of the day decreed that it should be used as a convalescent home for returned soldiers. And so we do have pictures of soldiers on the verandas and soldiers with the nurses at the back and their
Awesome.
Cars and stuff like that. So that's what that was used for. And then after the war, three of the governors used it as their summer residence. And then in 1933 it was turned into the Park School. And then it became, at some point, doctor's surgery, doctor's house. I know that it was used as a maternity hospital. I'm not sure whether it was used as any other sort of hospital, but our builder's wife was born in the front room, so obviously she said, I was born over there, you know. So we know that that's a definite. And then in the 50s, the CWA used it to run a hostel for the girls who were going to the Albany District High School. And so they were here for quite a number of years. And we've had a number of people come back who used to live here in those days. And under the stairwell, there's where they've all written their names.
Is it like a little Harry Potter cupboard?
Probably. It was. We've actually covered it over, but it is still there for people to see if you wanted to see it.
Oh, fantastic.
And then in the 70s it was run by the Slow Learning Children's Group, which is now called the Active Foundations, and they did a lot of building to it, and that building was detrimental. The building that was done for the CWA for hostel, like dormitories and things, and over there was a big asbestos room that was the dormitory, and up here where our best room is now was a Bushan block. And so, and then when the Active Foundation had it, they apparently put little kitchens and things all over the place, in the front and that sort of stuff.
Goodness.
Yeah, very bad. And so a lot of detrimental stuff happened to the building. While the government owned it, they took out all the good timber and put aluminium windows and doors in, and the balustrade was all turned into metal. So since we've been here, we've renovated all that, we turned it all to timber and spruced the place up quite a bit.
And that's a magnificent service to the building and to the community to restore it. It's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the people of Albany were very happy. On the whole, were very happy.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have done it differently.
Yeah. We all would, wouldn't we?
But we're happy with how it went. There was a few things that I would change, but basically it's turned out very well in my opinion.
Wonderful. Okay, well I'm very much looking forward to taking the next bit of the journey. So we might take everyone on a small tour around the house, and or some parts of the house anyway, and just so that they can get a picture of what it is that we're looking at, and the size of this place, because it's actually a very gorgeous, very old, amazing property, but it's big. So to go through a place like this to clear it and do it properly, it's like doing a spring clean, you know. So it's good for everyone to see what we're actually working with. So let's go on a journey. Good. This is the room.
This is the room that we did our second renovation on, and this area here, was a walkway just to the outside, little passageway, and this was closed in. Originally this would have been a veranda, because you can see the veranda posts here, and so when we opened that up, that's when the trouble started really, and a lot of negativity, misunderstandings between us and all that sort of thing happening. Another person, an interior decorator, came into the scene, and whatever the presence here, did not like it at all. So that's when we had our first clearing done, which made a huge difference, and all is quiet, or has been quiet.
And all is spectacular. It is. Look at it. Looks like it's straight out of Game of Thrones, really, isn't it? Do you know that show?
Yes, I do. Oh, well, I sort of.
So that's fantastic. And look at the beautiful bathroom cabinets and the little gorgeous splashbacks. And I love this, that in every room there's like native flowers in the splashbacks.
And on the shower
showers.
screens as well.
Gorgeous. Look at that. Magnificent.
So this is our blue lounge, and when we first came here there was a big spiral staircase here, which was really ugly, and so we took it out. And
Where did it go?
there's a room upstairs, Nolene's room's upstairs, and so we put the staircase on the outside going up, so she had more room, this
Brilliant.
room had more room, and that's pretty much how that worked.
Fantastic.
So the rooms here were, my understanding is that there was a lot of small rooms here originally, and the room in there had been made into an ablution block, and so we've made a lot of changes. So these two rooms are now bedrooms. This couch actually belongs here. That's the one that was here when the governor's, you can see it's all sort of a bit like furniture storage really, isn't it?
Well, it's magnificent furniture. So this is an original.
That's, yes, that belonged, that was here, it's the only piece of furniture in the building that was here when the governors were here.
Isn't that fascinating? Only one piece survived, hey?
I think the rest might have been sold off. This actually still belongs to the Historical Society.
And there's my bag, so we can all see where I'll be sleeping tonight. It's gorgeous, gorgeous little twin beds.
They actually hook together and make a double bed.
Oh, brilliant.
Well, we thought we'd leave them because sometimes you have people with children, or
Yeah.
like two ladies travelling together or something.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
So, yeah. And so this is my room. washed this, and we got this in Turkey, and I'm very disappointed because it's shrunk and it doesn't. I have to put. I think I've got another bedspread I can put on there.
But it truly is gorgeous.
It's beautiful colours, but
And
it just doesn't sit well anymore.
it's very beautiful.
But I think I was somewhere there's a bedspread that matches that. That was off a queen bed, so I'm going to have to see if I can make it fit onto the king bed somehow or other.
I'm sure you can work your magic.
So we put a disabled bathroom in here. So anyone with disabilities, we've had people in wheelchairs and they say it works.
Brilliant. Oh, hello. I've got myself in the mirror.
As well. These are originals as well. She painted them specially for us. She's very talented.
Beautiful.
There's another one up there.
Very fine detail work. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's sort of something that when I first saw it, I didn't dislike it, but it sort of grows on you to a degree.
And here's a very amazing gardener. He looks after everything. It's like he knew that I was talking about him then, because he'd looked up. Brilliant job.
Do you want to do this room? Because I'll quickly make the bed if you're going to do that one. You've been in the dark room, haven't you?
I did stick my head in earlier. Spectacular.
See, that's what there's all the bits there that, anyway, doesn't matter.
It's okay, it's magnificent. Furniture's incredible. And
It is. It was interesting because I had a friend who's into antiques and she called me up and she said, I found a sideboard, be perfect for your dining room. And she said, it's too big for my house. So we went and looked at it, which was that one. And then Bernie saw this one. He said, I like that one. And I said, well, why don't we have them both? So we did.
gorgeous.
And these pictures here are actually tiles. The photos have been put onto the tiles and we had the tiles framed, and that's Dog Rock and that's Milton Beach Road, and the other one's looking onto Stirling Terrace.
I should go over closer to get them without glare. So this is Dog Rock. Oh my goodness.
Milton Beach Road, around the cemetery.
Wow.
My mother-in-law used to walk along there when she was about 5 years old to go to school.
Look at this gorgeous town. Amazing, isn't it?
Mm.
Wow.
A great deal of trouble getting the light to work. There's this light halfway down and it just will not work.
Interesting.
So why is that?
Hmm.
Could be a practical reason, it could be an impractical reason.
It's always energetic. It's always both.
I'm just going to go and turn the light on.
Go on then. Look at this magnificent place. So we're just walking through here, just briefly, into the billiard room. And this is the point I was talking about. Such an amazing space. You can see this is Frenchman's Bay. Once upon a time, many moons ago, I lived somewhere over there. They don't miss a trick, do they? There he is, Mr. Crow.
Town jetty.
In 1914. Amazing. And this one?
And that's when the ships were amassed, ready to sail out, to sail to war. So that would have been a bit later. That's been 1915.
Yeah.
So, it said October 1914. October. The problem is it's not very nice down here at the moment. It's not been arranged medical. But anyway, you can probably be here.
That is magnificent. Look at that. Just gorgeous. It's just like being in a movie, really, isn't it? You can make a wonderful film here.
You
Look,
could.
we are.
You could do. You could do, and it's really interesting because you sort of get used to it.
But you
Yeah.
could make a wonderful movie or
You could do.
television show or anything. This place is
couldn't you?
incredible.
Yeah.
Look,
They did film some of television shows, 2 television shows.
amazing.
So, I need to edit a bit of that out, I think. It quite belonged to my mother. She bought it in Switzerland, so that's not.
Powder room. Oops, there I am again. Better to see you. Gorgeous.
I might. The back area. And so my understanding is that part was closed in, and I can't establish whether I've got different messages. But this, I think, might have been an ablution rock out here. I'm not sure. So now I heard a story about somebody who was a house mistress, and she had a pokey little room and the water ran over the rock. So I don't know whether her room was here or not. So
Sounds like it could have well have been, doesn't it?
yeah, well, the water does run over the rock. That's called the rocks. But fancy building a house on a rock, you know. But if you can't shift the rock.
Well, this is it. Build around it.
But we're really lucky because it was in not that good a state of repair, but we had a guy who was so good at doing stonework, and he patched it so that you could hardly tell that he patched it.
Amazing.
Because the stonework on this wall has been done differently to the stonework if you look around here. When we came, there was nothing here. Well, we put all the frames in. So when you look at the stonework here, it's totally different.
Oh, it's completely different. Where this is much more original over on this side. And interestingly here I noticed there's a huge amount of names scratched in.
Yeah, so that'll be the kids, I would have thought, from who were living here. So it could have been, say, 1956.
Goodness.
1955.
Can you actually, we can get the angle on that. There it is.
Some of them are hard to read.
Yeah. Hilia.
So that one's 1963.
So it is. There we go. It's got to get the shadow on the right angle to see them. RSB. What's this one? 1962 maybe.
So it used to look really bad, but he's patched it well enough so that it looks as like it's okay, if you know what I mean. It looks like authentically old.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So the gazebo's new, the garden shed's new.
So is the ute. That's fairly new. Beautiful gazebo.
The gardener wanted to put a rooster on top with a weather vane. I said, absolutely not. He'd even bought it. No. I've got the painter in. He's done the timber around the windows and stuff, but he's got a bit of work to do here. It's nice, isn't it?
It is. How far back I have to go to actually get the house in the shot. It's massive. You can see how massive it is. Massive. It's very central.
Somewhere in here it would need to be, I believe. This is a stream, apparently.
So here we are with all of the treasure for cleansing a space. It's like cooking, really it is. All of the different herbs and things you can see here have been chosen because of the nature of this particular place, the people who dwell here, the history, the country that we're in, the cultures that are associated, and so on. This is wormwood. Here we have a mix of lavender and rosemary. Here we have rose petals, which we'll be working with rose oil. Here is the Spirit of the Bush blend, and that's got lemon, eucalyptus, balga resin, which is Australian grass tree resin, Australian sandalwood. There's a very amazing Harley from Huckabee Organics Australian sandalwood mist, and this is Australian sandalwood powder. Charcoal tabs for burning all of this. Agni-Hotra ash. So Agni-Hotra is a process of burning cow dung and ghee and brown rice and turmeric, and it purifies the atmosphere, feeds the elemental beings. And in here we have very high quality frankincense and myrrh and a bit of dragon's blood. And then of course we have our sound instruments, the Merkaba pendulum, the bell and pendulum. Very good. Our candle has arrived, and Christine has there we have it. This is this is the from that big beautiful gum tree that you could see, the eucalypt outside. So we'll be using that today as well. Okay, so the point of all of this is to clear the different energies. They all do different things. So wormwood is something that I've intuited to use today because there has been so many years of history here. There's been wounded soldiers, there's been children, there's been nurses, there's been doctors, there's been school children, there's been disabled people, there's been women giving birth and babies. No doubt this house has experienced both ends of the spectrum, birth, joy, sadness, and the leaving of the body, and loneliness as well. So there's been the recovering veterans of war. It's had everything.
And the schoolgirls who came here must have been terribly homesick.
Oh yeah.
I would have thought.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. So wormwood's a really deep cleaner. Wormwood comes with a warning tag, do not use lightly. So for anyone who's watching this, forewarned. Wormwood is like the sandblaster of energy clearing substances, and it has the capacity with good and powerful intention to actually clean out the energy in physical matter. So you know, when you walk into a room and it feels kind of yucky, and you're, you know, maybe someone's had a fight in here, that kind of thing. Well, you know, if that goes on for a long time, for years and years, then that seeps into, you know, because everything's like a sponge. You know how even matter like soaks up the smells in your fridge and stuff like that. It's the same with emotion and other energies like that. So this has got the capacity to clean that out. But nature abhors a vacuum, and what I mean by that is that when you clean something out, you are going to need to put something back in. So you can't just leave it empty, because the same old junk will get attracted to it. AKA, we remind ourselves of the law of attraction again. So the next bit after that is to fill up. So we're going to be filling up because of the nature of this building and its history. We're going to be working with very European type, English and French type energy. So we're working with lavender, rosemary, and rose. So rose is really high vibrational. We've got beautiful wildcrafted rose oil that comes from Halkaby Organics. She's in Fremantle. She's amazing, Harley. And her stuff is pure, organic, high quality, and so that's the only stuff I work with. She can't remember what I was going to say. We're going to edit this bit out. So the rose is actually super high vibrational. It's synonymous with unconditional love, and that's what we're really wanting to put back into this place. Because, you know, we think that, you know, it's not just about the making of the place to look beautiful or in keeping, and or fix the wood, replace the wood and from aluminium and things like this, but actually we can leave things even higher vibrational state when we take out the old emotional and pain and stuff, and fill it again with new unconditional love and gentleness and protection energy, of soothing energy of lavender. And all of these herbs, if you look into them, you'll see have a lot of antiseptic qualities as well. So they're actually going to, you know, you can use lavender to get rid of stings and bites, and to, you know, clean out cuts and all sorts of things like that. Rosemary to wash your hair, to soothe the scalp. They're very, very soothing. But the purpose of using smoke is because smoke clears away. Because smoke clears away everything, leaving free form for the spirit to flow to and through things again, and that's what we want. At the end, we're going to be working with this amazing bush blend and some more Balga resin, and of course the very important from the tree on the property, eucalyptus. Obviously we've spoken with the tree and with the elders who've actually made the suggestion of using it. So that's how we're using that. And then we're going to set a clear intention and be working with the frankincense and myrrh and the sound and the merkaba, as you'll see here. And, you know, frankincense and myrrh together do something very, very special. You know, it wasn't by mistake that the three wise men showed up with frankincense and myrrh for baby Jesus. They were clever, and that's because individually they're amazing, but together they become something much, much more. And together these herbs, the alchemy is that you can work with them in north, south, east, west, above and below, and in all directions through time and space to set your intention. And that little bit straight on top there, that's dragon's blood, which is an amplifier. So, you know, we have a bit of everything. I'll be working with the wattle bird feathers, which are not out at the moment, but I'll show you in a minute, and the beautiful power shell, because I work really well with water. So and the balancing of water and fire as an alchemical thing is pretty awesome. So there we are. That's everything. We're ready to go.
Yeah, very
Here we go. Wattlebird feathers. That's what we use for wafting the smoke around. Beautiful crystal, clear quartz crystal ball. And a seer stone in a wand. So these are all just tools. They're not like, this is all nice to have stuff. You can easily use your hand to wave the smoke around, and you can easily use your fingers instead of a wand like this. You can easily go without a crystal ball, but they're all things that are nice to have that I just love to play with. And wattlebirds are so much about the nectar of life, and also the medicine that these birds carry is about, the coming in and the kicking out of other babies, other birds' babies, and then taking over their nests. These birds are often called butcher birds, so there's some medicine in that when we're considering doing the work with the Aboriginal elders and the Aboriginal people here, the very, very old energies that have occurred here. And as much as we don't like to think about it or talk about it, it's just part of the history. So let's not deny it, let's do something about it. Beautiful. Yum. So we're in the kitchen, Christine and I. Say hello.
Hi.
We're having a fabulous time. Pumpkin soup is heating up, but we've just been having a play with the pendulum. So I've gone outside and I've cast the circle. What that means is I have used a pagan technique of opening a circle, which is opening a sacred space, working with the elements of creation and ether, and that's it, and the circle shape. Now we're asking some questions, so just so you can see my hand, see the pendulum, that's pretty good, isn't it? What do you reckon? Mm-hmm. Okay. Alright, so you should be watching my hand to make sure that I'm not doing anything that would otherwise cause the, like doing these ones or anything. So working with a pendulum, you can get direct answers from source. So, first of all, we've asked pendulum, could you please show us a yes? Okay, and then thank you. Pendulum, could you please show us a no? Very good. And pendulum, could you please show us a free will? Okay. So, was that the same as before, Christine?
It was.
Okay, and you can see that hopefully you all can realise that I don't have, what do you call it? Micromanagement muscle skills in my fingertips. I don't. But anyway, so we wanted to know some questions like, has the circle been cast well? So
It's going around this time. Is that a no?
said a no.
Oh no, it's going back now, it's a yes. Yep.
So was there something that else we needed to? Was there something else we needed to include in the circle casting?
It's going around. Let's just takes a little while for it to change from one to the other.
Do its thing.
Mm.
Okay. Okay. Well, in that case, we asked, are the Aboriginal spirits here happy with, before I've even asked the question,
Because they know what we're going to ask.
I know, there's no getting away from it. It's hilarious. Yes, we're very happy. Thank you very much. Okay, that is magnificent. And we also want to know, was there other spirits here that needed to go home today? We have very much a yes. The other question that we have is, the first one is there spirits that need to go home from the convalescent soldiers that were here, that lived here? What years was that?
It would have been from the First World War period, so 1914 to 1918. I'm not exactly sure when they were here.
So that's a yes. Is there anyone here from any of the single families that have lived here that need to go home? No. Okay. And what about from the mother, like from when there was childbirth here? Was there any stillborn babies or mothers who died in childbirth who might be still stuck here? Yeah.
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And what about from the doctor's surgery, like when there was a doctor's surgery, is there any people who died at the doctor's surgery or anything that need to go home? No. Okay, that's good. All right, and what about in the aged convalescent times? And there was like a nursing home sort of.
I'm
Was
not
there
sure
something of
whether
that?
it
Was
was
there?
that or not.
Or any old people? Was okay. Well, is there elderly people here who need to?
That's a yes.
Okay. All right, and so it might be worth actually checking into whatever history we can, just to kind of get any confirmation. But I certainly felt like with the older I certainly felt the mother and child thing myself.
Would that be from? Oh, that was from the birth part here, not from before the house was built.
No, well, no. I'll ask. I don't feel it is. Because I would say that they would have had really good methods of helping.
No, this was to do with the massacre at the back.
Oh yes, yeah, we're exactly about to ask that one. Okay, so, with all of the trauma, the death of the Indigenous population who were here before the house was built, is there people who are ready to return home to the dreaming? So I've, like, all of the hairs are standing up on my legs, even my shaved legs.
I feel quite sort of hot.
Oops. Yeah, if I just stop that again. And are there still, is there like guardians of this land, Aboriginal guardians of this land here? Okay. All right, so that's like a yes, but it's a weak yes. So what I want to define then is, are the people that are here earthbound? Okay, so it's not their role in the tribe to look after the land, like a like a medicine man or something like that. So the answer is Yes, it's not their role. Yes, they are earthbound.
What does earthbound mean?
Means they've died in a traumatic circumstance and they're stuck here.
Okay.
Yep. So there we go. We've got a massive
Yes.
thing going on there. Okay. So brilliant. Okay. So there we go. So that's the pendulum. Worth having a look at that. We can do all of this without a pendulum, but I really like to use a pendulum in clearings because then everybody can actually have a relationship with what's going on. So, yeah. Any more questions?
No, not at this point.
Great. See you in a bit. What it's like being in the kitchen. You're on the smudging cooking show with Freya. So, hilarious. So now what we have is our rose petals with the wild-crafted rose oil, 100% pure. So, you know, this stuff is worth the money. It's worth buying it because it's such a high vibrational oil. It's the best you can get. And then we also have the rosemary and the lavender together. And so lavender's soothing, rose is high vibrational and uplifting, full of unconditional love, and the rosemary is very protective. This one is like it's sucking all of the stuff out. So
can you just explain what we've done before so that people watching will know why we're doing this now?
Okay, so what I've done is I've taken a tool, or I could use my hand, and I've gone around the whole property and I've opened a circle. So that circle is setting a circle, it's creating a sphere of protection and setting a boundary. It's like setting a boundary. And then I've used the earth, air, fire and water with sacred earth and holy water and blessed air and eternal fire. And then in the centre we have the candle, which represents spirit, and that's, you know, holding it all together. And so we end up with a sphere of protection around, above and below in all directions. And then we're cleaning, so then we're cleaning out. So it's like we get the vacuum and we suck all of the junk out of the place, and that's where we use the wormwood, because we're talking about, well, how old is this place?
130 odd years old.
130 years of living. And all sorts of really amazing stories and living here. So, you know, lots of different things. So we really need to give it a good clean out. And then, you know, nature abhors a vacuum. If you take all of the dust out of a room and then you just open it up, what happens? All the dust comes straight back in. So instead of just leaving a vacuum or a void, what we're doing is we're filling up. So we're using these protective, nurturing, soothing, high vibrational, unconditionally loving essences, and we're putting those together, making our beautiful blend, and then we start to go around the entire house and property and fill everything back up with all of those nice energies. So we've been under the house in the, well, it's not really a cellar, it's actually under the house. It was going to be something. We've been in the catacombs. There's not really catacombs, but
it feels like it. It feels like it.
It feels like it. There's the upstairs and downstairs, around the verandas and out the back. And when I went out the back, where there's a whole energy around the back where there's been a lot of lives lost prior to there actually being a house here, so like the Aboriginal people who lived here. And when I went out the back there, you know, when I got to the point where I was going into the furthest corner, it got really tricky. So I had to really go even further into my heart. I'm singing, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. So that's the whole Pono chant, to transmute unforgiveness and, you know, hatred and war and all of those sorts of things, so we can bring peace and harmony back. The wind whipped up and the trees threw things down, and it all got a bit, you know, thin for a minute there, so I had to stop and really, really take very small steps, go further into my heart and really mean it more, even more than I felt I was necessary. So So hooray, that's that bit done, and now let's go fill it up.
Okay, let's go.
All right.
Just say that again.
And this looks gorgeous, like a little dry ice potpourri, gorgeous concoction. And the other thing we'll just mention, as we're about to embark on round 2, is that not one smoke alarm has gone off in the house. Interesting.
Very.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so a couple more bits to go. We're going to go into the areas where there's been major trickiness and put here this myrrh and frankincense. So frankincense was burnt in the Dark Ages by the churches. You saw them swinging it in those beautiful brass things on the chain. So they used that to, because it's antifungal and antibacterial, so it killed off the plague. Well, that was the hope anyway. Certainly would have helped. And when you put these two together, these are the ones that operate across all directions and all time and space. Yeah, dragon's blood, so we've just got tiny little bits of dragon's blood there because it's really powerful. It's just amplifying it, so we want it to be really clear. So we're going, I'm going to take this now to the area of the back room, the best room, where the wall came down, where Christine was saying there was problems, which caused problems between her and Nolene. So we want to completely heal that, and we're also looking at the rift that was caused between the cultures as well. So I'm going to be working with the bell, so I'm going to leave that to do its work whilst I go through the rest of the place with the bell, and then I'll be taking frankincense and myrrh to the other rooms where I feel there's things like the billiard room, for example, the office downstairs, even through the laundry, and what's that other little room?
Storage area underneath.
Yeah, the storage area, which is, yeah, cool little room. Brilliant.
Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Oh, here's Dave.
Yeah, so the frankincense and myrrh dragon's blood has done a treat. You can see anyone. When I was going around using the bell before, I found that the downstairs office was the trickiest room of anywhere to get the energies into peace and harmony and a high vibration in a 360-degree radius. You can tell when you walk through, when you're using the bell as a resonance. When it's a high resonance, it just rings. And when there's a problem, it does something like that. Which I can't make it do that unless I do this, you know. So when it just sort of does it, it's a sure sign. Yeah, so that took some consistent work, and it was really stubborn to shift down there. So yeah, I feel something quite sad. Yeah, some real trauma happened there at one time. But now we're going to move out of here and out to the outside area, and I'm going to go across the whole area where the Aboriginal deaths have been, and go down to the tree and around that whole area where the crows and the elders' energy is, and just harmonise and balance all of that. And then that will complete everything. And after that, I'll open the circle, offer some prayers, and then open the circle. And then everything will be gorgeous.
I wand in my back pocket.
One has to love the wattle birds. Here we go. Sitting right on the border of the circle. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The crows are flying around, checking out what's going on, I think. They're actually on the border of the circle that Freya's created.
So here we are. It's raining. We've finished everything. It's been perfect all day.
And we've got a rainbow. The birds are flying.
There's the rainbow. We've seen no birds all day except for the crows. Speaking of which, there it goes. They're like on cue. We're paying them to do that. And as soon as we've finished, just ready, when the balance was restored, we'd use the spirit of the bush outside here to balance everything. The Kulbadi showed up, and they're about communication, they're about balance. And then, after I'd opened the circle again, we had the parrots. They came, flew over, and then Christine stood just there and she said, and we get pelicans that fly over, and I said, and here comes one now. I'm pretty sure she'd also paid that one to fly exactly over as she said. So it's been amazing, and here we are, nature doing its thing. Now washing itself clean, washing the body, and yeah, couldn't ask for a more amazing experience. And there's the rainbow. And an Aboriginal lady once told me that when you see the rainbow, you're seeing the rainbow serpent.
I don't know what to say, really. Well, it's been an amazing day. I've been following Freya around and watching what she's been doing and having to get her to explain it all. But it certainly has been really, really interesting. And I think you can feel that it's actually lighter here. That's probably the only way that I can explain it. But it feels lighter and warmer in the house at the moment.
That's cool. And we look, and I'd love to hear about things as they unfurl. What the
I'm sure
changes
it will
are.
do. I'm sure it will change.
Yeah.
But we won't know for a little while how it will change.
Physical's got to catch up to the everything other, all the non-physicals. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you for today.
No,
Amazing.
thank you, Freya, for coming. It was just amazing.